If you know someone who has been diagnosed with cancer, or you yourself have been diagnosed with cancer, this video is to help you. This video is for you. My name is Joseph Lucier, 25-year holistic practitioner working with holistic alternatives to cancer therapies. I'm not going to discount the possibility that allopathic medicine may have some choices to bring people through a healing crisis. My perspective is that would be a bridge to a holistic, long-term success approach. So it's very important to understand that people have choices. Oftentimes, they're not given those choices. So it's very important to understand that you, based upon your research or collaboration with other holistic practitioners, can find out other ways to take care of yourself. One of the important things to understand is cancer itself. The truth of cancer itself is important to understand. Cancer is not a lack of chemotherapy or radiation or surgery. In many ways, it is a lack of oxygen in our bodies. Since oxygen is such a critical element, we can go days and weeks without water or food, but only moments, only a matter of minutes without oxygen. And what does that mean? That tells the whole body that there is a crisis going on. And there is a cascading set of actions that occur when that actually happens. It's called hypoxia. And there are oxygen sensors, as expected, throughout the entire body. And they signal to our genes to create a process to continue to survive, even if there is an oxygen deficiency. So a lot of this is based upon the knowledge of peer-reviewed science as well as Nobel Prize winning science from Otto Warburg. At a 40% threshold, when we go below that, the body says we must do an emergency process. That process is not a hostile, invited process into the body. It is an alteration of our existing genetic and physiological production in our bodies. What that means is cancer cells are produced by cancer genes. So think of that for a moment. In our bodies, we have cancer genes that tell our body to produce cancer cells and cancer tumors. So why would our body do something which in theory is allegedly told to us a challenge, something that will kill us? Because it's actually created to save our lives. So if there is a low amount of oxygen in the body, this cancer process will allow us to continue to produce energy to live, to survive, and to do work going forward with a reduced amount of oxygen. So what that means is there are two ways to produce oxygen, one with to produce energy, one with oxygen plus glucose to burn and produce energy, which is commonly known as ATP, little bricks of energy, little bricks of battery. So imagine if that two-part critical process is lacking oxygen, it only has glucose. So the body is smart. Let's use a process that can be producing energy, even though an inefficient amount, but with primarily oxygen. So this is called regular cellular metabolism with the two parts. And then the alternative process is glycolysis, which is primarily working to create energy through glucose or sugar, carbohydrates in our body. And the body doesn't just invent a new process for glycolysis, it mimics and it reactivates a built-in process that already exists in our body. That process exists while we are in utero, the embryonic process. So later in life, we have a lack of oxygen. It basically reactivates those tools that we utilized when we are in utero, and anaerobic or primarily anaerobic environment, and then it reactivates that and mimics it and rebuilds it and creates cancer cells and a cancer tumor. So that seems quite profound, but if you think of it from a perspective of simple deficiency, hypoxia, proven by Nobel Prize winning scientists, create a situation where the alarm bells are ringing, where we have a lack of oxygen, and therefore we need to come up to plan B to produce enough oxygen to get us through a healing crisis. So that's really important. But think of this into perspective of logic. If you've been told that you have cancer, or a friend has been told that they have cancer, and in the body we have a process called angiogenesis. That means we are producing blood flow to the cancer tumor. So ask yourself a question. Why would the body increase the capability and the persistence of a tumor, cancer tumor, that is allegedly there to kill us? It is a lifeboat. It is a life-saving mechanism, just like our organs, just like when we're building organs when we're in utero, just like when we have issues presently, we have blood flow to an organ. So that tells us the body itself wants to be persistent to last long enough in this plan B or challenging situation to create survival blood flow to the cancer tumor to create energy. If the cancer tumor is here, it doesn't have nourishment, it will die. Therefore, it won't produce any oxygen or any energy for us, and we will die. Simple enough. So the body plans on creating the cancer tumor to persist, to create energy as a bridge to get us through a healing crisis until the oxygen amounts are recovered. That's why therapies like oxygen-based, ozone-based magnesiums, hyperbaric chambers, alkaline diets, which increase oxygen, all these things are consistent with that process. Think of it this way. A cancer tumor is a temporary organ doing work until the healing crisis is over. And guess what? If you do these things to reduce inflammation, to reduce the antioxidants, the antioxygen processes, increasing oxygen through alkalinity, herbs, hyperbaric chambers, red light therapies, you increase oxygen. Guess what? The body gets a message. Oh, we have basically overcome that danger zone of 40%. So the doctors won't tell you any of this. But if the 40% threshold is now recovered, again, alarm bells go off throughout the body. The sensors say, we're good. Turn off the cancer. And we have genes for that as well. We have genes to produce cancer. We have cancer suppressor genes. And the cancer cells will stop and they will reverse and they will go away. The tumor will go away because job done. No longer needed. Angiogenesis will stop. The oxygen flooding therapies work. Another thing in our practice, in my specific practice, I work proactively to remove resistance that interferes with blockage, that interferes with oxygen uptake, I should say. And that is a bioelectrical blockage. So if there is resistance, if I put a tourniquet on my hand, eventually blood flow will stop and my hand will basically atrophy. And it will no longer function normally. If I remove the tourniquet, blood flow returns. Same thing with our nerves to organs. The brain communicates by way of nerves to the organs, and it gives us information to do work, to metabolize properly, to get oxygen into a process of generating energy. If again there is a tourniquet or a blockage on the nerve going to the organ, it will atrophy. It will no longer work. It doesn't have information. It will basically slow down. Just as if when people are in bed in a hospital for a week or so, they need massage, they need movement, they need different things because the message the body gets is do less work. So that's another way to reverse cancer, to open up blockages. The brain wound communication links need to be recovered. So all these things through diet, red light therapy, sunlight gazing, all these different things return us back to homeostasis. We have a very simple mechanism. We require oxygen with glucose, we burn it, just like heat in a fire, it creates energy, period. When half of that vital process is missing, we go to plan B and we hope eventually the oxygen will be recovered. So this can even be done through proper breathing. Breathing through the nose increases oxygen availability by 20%. So these are all the choices for anyone listening to me right now. You are in charge. These are your choices. If your doctor doesn't give you all of these choices, even through herbs, which are blood cleansers, which increase detoxification, which increase oxygenation, find another doctor. Find other choices. Be empowered by choices, even eating healthy food, sprouting, fermenting food, leafy greens, all these things, green smoothies. These things are anti-cancer. Reference the WARK, W-A-R-K diet. That is a person, I think it's 10 or 20 years now, reversed his own cancer by changing his diet. Brenda Cobb and the Ian Wigmore style. She got cancer. She changed her diet. She reversed her cancer. She did so well, just like Chris Wark, they now teach other people how to do this. Lots of people are doing this. On TV, you see advertisements for medications. You don't see advertisements for green smoothies as a cure or a remedy for cancer. In general, not to discount the great work of the allopathic industry, but the allopathic business has been compromised by a business model. Healthy food choices, light therapy, circadian therapies, all these things are relatively free and inexpensive, and lifestyle medicine is the future of medicine. You can take charge of your life. So these are the things that you really need to understand. It's critically important to know the core cause. As I said, cancer is not a deficiency of chemo or radiation or surgery. It is a lack of oxygen. It is an excess of inflammation, usually chronic inflammation, because it's a basic formula in the body. It's really basic. More inflammation, less oxygen. More oxygen, more voltage, more bioelectricity, more functionality, more energy production in our bodies. It is basically those basic things. So one of the things I always recommend as you're going through this journey, because it's not easy, it's very hard to make these changes and do different things. It's very difficult. But get a baseline of one of the things that the doctors excel in, testing. Vitamin D3, vitamin B12, sodium, potassium, because that's about hydration. Inflammation markers. Understand inflammation, iron, copper, all these different things to bring your own body back into homeostasis. And you can do this. And it's not something that is unavailable to you. It is there. It's just not very obvious and not well promoted, to be honest. So focus on inflammation. And when we focus on inflammation, we focus on our inner terrain. That means fermented foods, high fiber foods, period. To reduce inflammation, on increased circulation, we focus on light therapies and alkalizing foods. So these are the basic things. And circadian rhythm, our body runs on circadian rhythms. What does that mean? We run on a clock. That clock is reset every morning. Day shift, action, stress, night shift, sleep, rest, and digest. So we need a very clear change of that yin and yang daily process that we experience. So we don't want to be watching daytime light at nighttime, because our body will say it's nighttime, it's daytime, not time to sleep. Therefore, it's harder to sleep. We need to sleep to recover. We need to breathe well to get oxygen. So all of these things are critically important and critically basic. Science, medicine, hundreds of years ago, all proved this to be true. So a few basic things, sea vegetables, hydration, and different things are critically important to get through this crisis. So thank you.